Hello, fellow Ranger Zone listeners. It's Robbie Belusic here.
Hi, I'm Robbie Belusic.
We took last Sunday off to attend the final game of the opening series against the Boston Red Sox.
Go Six Rangers!
So this one is a bit of a hodgepodge from our discussion about trading cards and our, normal nonsense. It includes the rage-fueled Luka Doncic rants that we've been teasing for a couple of episodes now, and I'll remind you that we originally recorded these the morning after the trade was announced, and even though it's been like 2 months, we still think Nico Harrison is the human equivalent of gas station sushi, and he should have to live a life where he's constantly losing his car keys or getting the shopping cart with the broken wheel or attending restaurants that consistently get his food order wrong, Coming soon, we'll have a ballpark food-themed episode, which will also include tales from our first live game together this season.
I love hot dogs.
So we'll get that out to y'all once it's finished, but in the meantime, please enjoy this amuse-bouche episode of The Ranger Zone. I was originally going to bring this person up at a later date. It was in my cold open doc. I had come across a few clips of him doing some like cool trick shots and just thinking about his potential in his career. And I was like, man, this guy's so good. And with Tony, your particular basketball expertise, I was like, I bet he could tell me just how really good he is and how good we have it. Before we get into it, I'm going to take you back to yesterday, though. I was having such a good day. It was a great day. I had been sick for a little while. I started feeling better. We had incredible weather yesterday,
it was
too.
Lovely outside.
I went out to the driving range, and I hit
nice,
golf balls for like
nice.
2 hours. It was awesome. I rode with the windows down both ways. I was jamming to yacht rock, and everybody in Central Arlington knew it. I stopped for flowers on the way home and got some strawberries too. I had Whataburger for dinner.
I'm picturing the Terry Crews in I guess it's White Chicks.
Yes,
where he's just like, everyone's watching. This is what you would do.
Yes. Oh, man. I got into some podcast editing, put in some real work yesterday, and late night I'm nomming on some snacks and munchies. I'm watching Ted Lasso, some real feel-good TV. Then, just about before 11:30 p.m., I was launched into an assault of the senses, specifically common sense. From the amount of text messages and notifications that I got, you would have thought that the Riddler blew up the seawall in Gotham again. But it wasn't that. It was something more unbelievable than me getting a doomsday scenario emergency response notifications about a fictional guy who likes puzzles a little too much come to life to then carry out a terrorist attack on his fictional city protected by f***ing Batman. I would have believed that more than what I saw last night, and that was how the Mavericks traded away potentially one of the greatest basketball players in history, and that is not hyperbole about Batman or about Luka's undeniable stature and projection for his NBA career. And coming from a guy who honestly just doesn't really watch a lot of basketball, it's had always been a talent thing for me. I wanted to play basketball as a kid. I tried it several times throughout youth, and I was just not good at it, so I did not gravitate towards the sport. But I can still appreciate the sport for sports' sake, and I still understand the landscape of professional basketball. So even from my point of view, I think my reaction is valid and frankly justified, and 100% the stupidest fucking trade in the history of sports, probably altogether. How do I know that? Well, because I spent the next 3 hours trying to find out, and we'll talk about some of the other players and instances that I think this is kind of on the level of, but what I mostly found was that through the most blundersome trades in sports history. 95% of these guys were nobodies before. They were kind of shipped off to another team after, playing a handful of games or a season or two or whatever.
Well, hell, we just talked about Sammy Sosa.
Yeah.
But he was a nobody at that time. That was a hindsight trade. You had all the knowledge you needed going into it.
Yes. They weren't already considered as the best to do it in the history of their sport at the time of their trade. You know how else I know I'm right? Is that the other tens of thousands, probably hundreds of thousands, if not millions now, who thought the reporter, Shams Charania, who broke the news on Twitter, was hacked for, a solid 10 to 15 minutes, because I'm still getting notifications from everybody with 2 half-empty brain cells to rub together saying the same things that I am. From one of my favorite sports analysts, Rich Eisen. What? I mean, that's the only reaction you can have. Safe to say mine has been a little more colorful, but back to Rich. This doesn't make any sense. I don't get it. The only thing I can think of is, what? Rich Eisen. Well put, sir. This is from Greg Anthony. I'm still thinking it's a hack. It's hard to fathom the thought process from moving on from Luka Doncic. Sadly, GA, I don't think there was a lot of thought going on.
Certainly not about what was best for basketball.
No. And then I'm seeing videos of courtside bench reactions from Bradley Beal and Kevin Durant when they see the news, and it looks like they just found out the South Tower was hit.
You remember when David Stern vetoed the trade for Chris Paul?
Yes.
I miss you, David Stern.
Like, why can't somebody veto this?
Yes.
The Lakers can't have everybody.
This is insane.
And I don't know who to blame. And
I know. I got a whole list that I'm categorizing currently.
Miriam Adelson.
When I initially was experiencing this, I wasn't even sure if I had someone to blame, if I should be blaming someone, because it is definitely the most extreme knee-jerk Homer sports fan reaction that I am having.
Yeah, I mean,
but I
see everybody around the country having that. It's not like there's worldwide Mavs fans.
Exactly. I really do think this is a situation that exists in the section of the Venn diagram for Mavs fans and for basketball fans. One here, one there, and the largest collective of what the fuck ever square in the middle of those circles. The overlapping part of these circles is massive.
I doubled up on my blood pressure medication this morning. I started drinking at 8:30.
The person I wanted to hear from the most was Tony on this issue, because I know Tony is a huge basketball fan.
I have been waiting to get a microphone in front of me and also dreading this, because I'm like, oh God, what am I going to regret saying after this? I've been a mess all morning, doing deep dives into what could possibly be the rationale behind this decision, and how when you first hear the news, you can only come to the conclusion that, oh, well, Luka must have wanted out, and this is our only solution to keep the franchise afloat,
But all reports say that he's just as blindsided as everybody else.
All the reports say that this came from our front office
and the Lakers front office.
And the deal came together like a thief in the night. Yeah. We only talked to the Lakers. We only wanted Anthony Davis.
If we were going to move Luka, it was going to be for Anthony Davis or no other player.
And I said something about this on social media earlier today. The Dallas Mavericks are valued at $4.7 billion as of 2024. So when I hear members within this organization talking about the luxury tax threshold and the idea of paying Luka a supermax contract with his effort being questioned at time and his conditioning being questioned, I've been trying to get into the... Just sink into Nico Harrison's brain for a minute and just try to think about how this could possibly be viewed as a win for us. To hear what's coming out from that side of camp about how there are financial implications that played a part in this. It makes no sense to me. To hear of there's so much money involved. To pinch pennies with arguably the best player in basketball is a disgrace. It is a complete disgrace. It is an affront to the sport. It is an affront to every fan of your franchise. And that's money as well. It seems like they were so worried about not paying a luxury tax or not paying this supermax contract that what you've done is you've tanked the value of the entire franchise. There are a few there for 25 24 GMs in basketball. Their job is to put a team together that can compete for a championship. Put a team together that can compete for a championship under a certain dollar sign as well. For 24, 25 GMs, that's their role. And then there's 5 or 6 GM whose job is not to put together a team that can win a championship. Their whole job is to be a glorified babysitter and do whatever is necessary in your power to keep 77 happy, to keep 77 on the floor playing basketball the best way that he could do it. There's a few jobs in the NBA where that's all you got to do is give him what he wants and get the hell out of his way. This was one of those jobs. Nico Harrison decided that his input into what is best for the Dallas Mavericks was more important than Luka Doncic. And anyone in this organization who feels like that is a good idea should be fired today.
I saw a quote from him in a Dallas Morning News article by Brad Townsend, where I guess he was trying to justify this trade or at least give some type of reasoning behind it. That's Nico Harrison. He says, I believe that defense wins championships. I believe that getting an all-defensive center and an all-NBA player with a defensive mindset gives us a better chance. We're built to win now and in the future.
Center, a position that we're famously, we don't have any depth at with Gafford and Lively. It's not like they're good.
They are good. They are good.
I know.
The problem with that mindset is
I mean, are you going to put Davis at the 4?
when you look at it in a vacuum, it's like, yeah, Anthony Davis does help your post defense. It does help your rim protection. That was not the issue with this team.
Yeah.
It was perimeter defense. And how is the perimeter defense any better today than it was yesterday when your perimeter offense is taking the biggest hit imaginable? How are you a better team now? That doesn't make any sense to me. You name me the last time a player in any sport was as close to a championship as the Dallas Mavericks were and traded the flagship player of that franchise and destroyed the core of that team. Why would you do that? Luka Doncic has done nothing but beat people that he wasn't supposed to beat.
It is so much more than just the best player in the league right now. And it's so obvious. It's the trade in the middle of the night that feels like the twist of the knife for me as a fan. And that's, it hurts so many various people and parties, and the fans are the ones who feel it the most emotionally, I think.
You say you want players like Kobe and Dirk, guys that stay with their team that drafted them, that through the thick and the thin, the good times and the bad, they're here and they're in it together.
Your hometown guys.
You want guys like that, and then as a franchise, you're going to turn around and do shit like this.
Guys who were arguably top 10. I'm talking about Dirk. You can make an argument that he is one of the top 10 greatest players to ever play basketball, and we could have had another one of those guys.
Thank you guys from the bottom of my heart for making this journey incredible, and thank you for taking in a long, lanky kid over 20 years ago and making him one of your own. I'll be always grateful. Thank you.
And it definitely speaks volumes for future Maverick stuff if we are even going to have a team 20, 30, 40 years from now, because this thing might send shockwaves so far that when you have all-star generational or multi-generational talent coming out of wherever, they're not going to want to come here. Why would they want to come here?
This is a fold. To me, this feels like, hey, Luka got too big for us. We can't control him. We can't do what we want him to do. So we're done and we're out. I get it. We're done and we're out should have been the solution to that scenario. It just should have been Nico's out, not Luka's out. Like you chose your own front office over Luka? What?
I contend that this is the darkest day in this franchise's history.
Yeah.
And this is the team that, got fleeced in the 2006 finals, that the next year won a franchise record number of games to get ousted in the first round. The same team that in the 92-93 season won 11 games. This is it. This is the darkest moment.
Nico Harrison is the worst thing to happen to the Dallas Mavericks since Tony Braxton.
We are... So what the Dallas Cowboys did to the Minnesota Vikings in the Herschel Walker trade, we're the Vikings right now.
That is one of the very few instances in the history of sports where I could find something even remotely close to that happening was the Herschel Walker, because he did have an incredibly prolific career.
But there was so much variable involved in that, where
Things had to go a certain
things
way.
you had to
and Johnson
pick
was
the
able
right
to
people so many
manipulate it.
times in order for that trade to work out. This is proven commodity for proven commodity, and one of them has proved themselves far more often than the other, and in far less amount of time.
I've never heard of a team governor. We have the Mavericks have one.
What's that dude's name?
Patrick Dumont.
Yeah,
is his name.
He's a bum.
Harrison apparently got full support from team governor Patrick. Like I said, I don't have no. What is that? Is he a chaperone?
He's Miriam Adelson's puppet. That's who he is.
Okay.
When you look at the numbers, and the Dallas Mavericks were about $5 million over the luxury tax threshold, and at the conclusion of this deal, they're about a little under $700,000 under the luxury tax threshold, and you tell me that had to play a factor in it, and it's
She's got
really
all the money in
sad.
the world.
If Cuban's still the majority owner of this team, this deal doesn't happen. Correct?
Absolutely not.
No. Well, he was quoted a few years ago as saying if he had to choose between his wife and Luka, he'd file for divorce. So
Now I'm seeing what all these older people in my family and older people that I know have been talking about when they talk about how terrible a franchise the Dallas Mavericks were before Mark Cuban bought this team.
you guys remember Brad Smith?
There's so many gaffes and mishaps and free agents that, it looked like we were going to get, and then we didn't get.
Oh my gosh, what was it? What's his name?
DeAndre Jordan recently,
Yes.
Yeah. Oh
Good
man.
Lord.
There's so many examples.
Oh, I got so excited when we signed Clay. It was like, we're a destination now with Luka. Oh, good. So much for that.
And this feels like a return to that. It feels like Mark Cuban was the only thing keeping this franchise afloat, and now that he's not running this show, we are back to making terrible decisions.
Someone online I saw said this is like a good move when you're in win now mode. I'm like, win now? We were in the finals last year. We're primed. We're ready to go. We're not in desperation mode.
If you had traded Kyrie for Anthony Davis,
Yeah. I mean, I get that. That makes sense.
that seems logical from both sides. It seems far more fair. These are both guys in their early 30s making similar money, similar trajectories as far as the rest of their careers. If you had made a move around Kyrie Irving and Anthony Davis, that makes sense.
We could have had another statue across from Dirk.
You said something about this first time in midseason that 2 All-NBA players have been traded. There's levels to All-NBA. And 5 years straight of first-team All-NBA play, Anthony Davis is not and never has been.
No.
There was a time in New Orleans where he was probably the best center in the game for a minute.
Yeah, that was like 10 years
But
ago.
first of all, he's not even a guy who wants to play center. He wants to play power forward,
Yeah,
and that's why
yeah.
he likes the idea of being here, because we have 2 legitimate centers.
Yes.
And all that sounds great on paper when you don't give up Luka.
We shouldn't have shot Harambe.
Welcome to the Ranger Zone. I am Robbie Belusic.
I am a guy trying to put on a happy face. I am Chris Green.
I am pissed off. I'm Tony Cook.
We are 3 clinically obsessed Texas Rangers fanatics, semi-qualified to dish out our takes like hot cakes from the fans to the front office, and nobody's front office is out of bounds for us. There's no off limits. We're coming for you, Nico. We've got a great episode for everybody. Like always, it's going to be a good one. Fun little episode we're going to do today. It's all about trading cards. Whee! Yeah, trading cards. We'll get into a little bit of memorabilia talk as well, but specifically trading cards. Throughout most of the off season, I think it was near the end of the seasons when they announced this particular card was coming out. That is the Paul Skenes debut patch rookie card, the 1/1 with his autograph on it. They announced that they were going to be releasing these style cards, several of the rookies with their MLB patch on them. Near the end of the season, I think they ended up coming out, and people have been chasing the Paul Skenes card for a long time. Not just because he is a generational talent, not unlike Luka Doncic.
Here we go.
But because of there were lots of various offers and stuff up in the air. Some from the Pirates organization where Paul Skenes plays, and then from various auction houses on what this card might actually get. Did you guys see this? Go ahead and click that link that says MLB The Show. I saw this on several...
Oh, the cover?
No. I saw this on several social media sites, passed around various people, and then it showed up again and again and again, and I was like, okay, this is getting a lot of traction. Some rando went through 40 years of MLB The Show on franchise mode, and I know you can simulate and stuff, so who knows if he played every single game. Regardless, some of the goofy stats in here that all of his players got through the 40 years of him playing as the Boston Red Sox, he's got
This is wild.
Yeah.
40 years?
40 years. So in the 40 years, I think they won 38...
It says 39 World Series titles.
Yes,
right
39.
Devers is like the undisputed GOAT, man.
Yes, some of these were just...
Vladdy Jr. is great, too.
Yeah. The numbers are just fun. They're numbers, you're never going to hear these numbers ever again. Rafael Devers played until he was 67 years old. The guy says he had to move him to third base at age 50. The guy, the person who posted this, his handle is at Skipsview Dean. Rafael Devers had 7,014 hits and 1,577 home runs.
My God.
Vladdy Guerrero, he finished with 7,069 hits and 1,598 home runs. Oh, just too shy of 16 Hondo.
That's some run support, baby.
Mm-hmm.
Here is the craziest thing, though. Of all of these computerized players set to 99 doing the most, nobody broke Ricky Henderson's stolen base record in 40 service years. Nobody. The closest person to do it that this game could conceive of, where we just rattled off 4 or 5 guys.
1,600 home runs.
Yeah. The closest was Holiday at 1,260 stolen bases, which is still 200 shy, and Holiday got 40 years to do it, whereas Ricky did his in 24 years. Ricky had 10,000, just shy of 11,000 at bats, and stole 1,400 bases. And in the game, Holiday had 24,000 at bats and could muster 1,200 steals.
That's insane.
Today,
The game
I am
can't
the
even
greatest
come up with a player.
of all time.
Yes. Can't even come up with a player who can do it.
What a freaking legend. Well, the reason, guys, that I wanted to do our trading card episode today, other than the fact that I love them and it's fun to rip packs, was the Paul Skenes card. There was just so much lore and everything that went into it. You know, it's Charlie Chocolate. Charlie Chocolate.
Charlie Chocolate in the chocolate.
Lose, sir. You get nothing.
Charlie Wonka in the chocolate.
It's the whole golden ticket scenario. That's where I'm going for.
I know we're going to talk about it, but I definitely have thoughts on the Pirates proposed trade. Yeah.
I mean, Olivia Dunn definitely would have gotten Grandpa out of that bed, too. That's all I'm saying.
So, November 13th, 2024, Topps Chrome Update Series release. They released with never-before-seen patch cards that carried the debut patch from various rookie jerseys and their autographs, all in the card. It was a small little patch. I think they had it like just under their cuff of one of the sleeves.
One of my favorite parts is there's a lot of goofy people online that are like, they should give those patches to the players. I'm like, no, guys, they're literally on the jersey so they can be made into cards. That's why they're there to begin
the
with.
The highest sought after, of course, was Paul Skenes after winning the National League Cy Young. There were over 250 cards of this nature made. One guy On Reddit, user All Sports Collect is graciously tracking them for everyone. You can find out, who's found them and who's reported them. At least these are all the ones that have been reported. Yeah,
People took a picture and
absolutely.
said, "Look what
Whether
I
it's
did."
mostly that, it's some eBay listings. There are 10 Texas Rangers cards. The ones that have been pulled for the Rangers are J.P. Martinez, Jack Leiter, Cole Winn, Wyatt Langford, Jonathan Ornelas, and Owen White.
I'd be so
I
mad
know.
if I pulled the Owen White card. Like, one, he didn't even play for us
Yeah.
anymore, and two, it's Owen
The
White.
ones who are still available for the Rangers are Alex Spees, Justin Foscue, David Wenzel, and Evan the Little Savior Carter.
I'd take it back.
Yep.
If I pulled Alex Spees, I'd be real upset.
So how highly sought after was he, you ask? So sought after that... Yeah.
Bob Nutting was...
That-
sorry.
He was
Bob
pretty
Nutting
much.
was ready to bust a
The
nut.
Pittsburgh Pirates offered of king's ransom for this thing, for whoever pulled it. The Pirates were willing to give them 2 season tickets behind home plate for the next 30 years, a meet and greet with Paul Skenes, 2 Paul Skenes autographed jerseys, a softball game for 30 at the PNC Park where the Pirates play, with coaching from Pirates alumni, private tour of Pirate City and Lacombe Park, and more unique experiences to come.
And I know Livy added
She
on to
sure
that. You
did.
could watch the game
Yep,
with her and
she
her
said she
suite at the
tweeted
game,
out.
So.
Yeah, tweeted out the offer that the Pirates did not long after they did theirs. Said, let's raise the stakes. The person who finds the card can sit with me at the Pirates game in my suite. Well, this, like I said, all of this came down in mid-November, so we've all been on tenterhooks over here, waiting to find out who's going to pull this freaking thing, or if it's just going to, sit in someone's sealed collection for the next 50 years, or who knows? Because that's what happens as a Pokemon collector. Half of what I buy is in my closet and will stay sealed, and half of it I bring it home and rip it immediately, because there are some things that are going to have value like that because of the thing that everyone is chasing inside it. Exactly, especially when no one, for the better part of 2 months, no one had found it yet.
This deal is amazing if you're a
Yes.
Pirates fan. So to the 3 Pirates breakers out there, man, I'm
Yeah.
sure this was like making y'all sweat. But for everybody else in the baseball world, it was like, okay,
Pretty
so I'm
much.
just going to sell
And-
this card at auction.
I know.
30 years behind home plate at PNC Park. I mean, the view's going to be
Right.
beautiful, but the baseball's going to be terrible.
I mean,
So-
the odds of this card getting pulled by a Pirates
very
fan.
slim.
So slim. So slim. And it's not going to make anybody a Pirates fan. It's like, wait, I can sit behind home plate for 30 years? Well, I'll just drop the team I've been rooting for since I was born so I can go move to Pittsburgh and be a Pirates fan now. Hell no.
The person who found it probably couldn't be any more further away from Pittsburgh as well, because it was pulled by an 11-year-old.
Like in LA, right?
Yep, in Los Angeles. He pulled it on Christmas. It was announced on
Merry
January
Christmas.
21st, though, the day of the Hall of Fame inductees. They came. The announcements came at the same time that they had found the card. He was graded as a PSA 10.
Of course.
What
What else were they going to grade it as?
Yeah. For the uninitiated, what makes sports cards so expensive not only is the exclusivity of them, but their grade, their actual condition, the printing quality, the cut quality,
Is it centered?
Is it centered?
Is there whiting on the edges?
Exactly. There are various card companies that do grading. The top 3 are PSA, Beckett, and CGC. PSA is kind of the gold standard when it comes to just across the board of all cards, not just baseball. All sports Magic, Pokemon.
At the same time, they will have some wild variations in
Yes.
their grading standards.
Yes, they will.
Depends on did you get the girl that's been there for 45 years and is a stickler for the rules, or did you get the bro that's on day one and is like, oh, looks cool.
Yeah, no kidding. I've seen so many videos of people, they will get their slab, that is lingo for cards that are encased in that big plastic, not just like a little card sleeve, but an actual hard plastic case. They're sealed in there. So those are called slabs. I will see them get their slab back, and they're like, how did this get a 7? Or how did this get an 8?
Slab.
Yeah, no kidding. And they will crack the slab open, and they will resubmit it and get a 10. And I'm like, all right.
There were people, with their whole conspiracy theory. They had their conspiracy hats on around the Paul Skenes card. They're like, it was just pulled. How is it already graded? So one, there's apparently a 3-week gap between the time it was pulled and the time it was announced that it was pulled.
Right.
But also, correct me if I'm wrong, the kid didn't actually pull the physical card. He pulled a redemption card, right?
Yes.
And so Topps has had this card the whole time and had the intention of having it be graded.
Absolutely.
Before the person that actually pulled the redemption ticket gets this card in their hands.
Yes.
So that's a part of it. Part of the reason why it got a 10 is that it was going to always get a 10.
Yeah.
So
also too, from what I read, they are only couple hours away from the PSA. PSA has a headquarters out there near where they live, just like us. Our Beckett is in Frisco or Plano or something, I think, or Las Colinas. You can just walk in and grade a card. So they could have easily pulled it Christmas Day and, what was it, on a Friday or whatever? So then Saturday, I don't remember what day of the week Christmas was on.
It's not like a Tuesday.
Whatever the next weekday was, driven out to
Wednesday,
PSA and got it graded in person. So for all the people who are conspiracy theorying about that, the importance of grading and whether it makes a real difference or not, it absolutely does. And I can only put this in Pokemon terms for me because it is kind of hard to pin down the actual value of a card unless it's these ones that are going for
Base set
bajillions of dollars.
Charizard.
Yeah. So one of the hottest Pokemon cards out there right now is an Umbreon card from a set in 2021, I think, called Evolving Skies, nicknamed the Moonbreon card. It is a special illustration, super rare. There's several hundred of them, thousands of them. One I was lucky enough to pull.
no way.
Yep.
Okay.
Raw, that card was about $600 when I pulled it raw.
You pulled a $600 card out of a Pokemon pack?
Sure did.
Hot damn.
100% raw, $600. Could have sold it, walked into any shop and been like, here you go. But I took 2 minutes to look at this thing and was like, this is a Gem Mint PSA 10. Sent it in, came back as a PSA 10. So the value of that card, it nearly doubled
Just
for
from getting
me.
it graded.
Yeah, just from getting it graded. I think it was really worth at that time about $1,100. Right now, that card, just for grins to let y'all know, right now that card raw is $1,450. At a PSA 10, it is a cool 3G.
All right.
Oh my gosh.
And in cases, grading can hurt the card. If you have like a card that's graded at a 7 or an 8, it's usually worth less than what a card is raw, because the raw card still has the potential to get higher, that 8.5, 9, 9.5, all the way up to that Gem Mint 10. So back to the collector. He declines the Pirates offer, of course. He sends the card to auction. There was a journal entry that the collector made. It is possibly the most adorable thing ever. We can put the journal entry in the show notes. It is a little long, and it's kind of hard for me to read it. It basically just kind of goes through his story about how he got the pack on Christmas Day, and he was begging to open one, and he did, and the Paul Skenes card was in there, and they were absolutely flipping shit.
Yes.
So I did want to get into the offer that you had talked about earlier, Christopher, that for a Pirates fan, this deal's probably worth it. If you're not a Pirates fan, it's not
you
worth
did the
it
math.
at all. I did do the
Ooh,
math.
Okay.
Season tickets, just on the season tickets alone, forget the meet and greets and the softball game and all the other nonsense. Just the season tickets, because that's the first thing that I always say if I catch some incredibly, memorable ball or whatever from a player and they need it back, like, I'm going to need to be able to come back and watch this game as many times as I want then. In Pittsburgh, the closest I could get, this, I'll tell you my parameters. So this is behind home plate. This is within the first 10 rows, is about $400 a ticket for a single ticket. This is not season ticket prices you've got to email them and correspond with. So this is just for a single ticket behind home plate on a Saturday game against a divisional opponent. $400. That's about $65,000 a year. That is $1.95 million over 30 years. You get a little bit of a discount, of course, when you're doing season tickets over the 30 years. It's going to save you, when you're talking almost $2 million, a drop in the bucket. So,
and ticket prices will go up over time.
Yeah, so about $2 million is what you're looking at for season tickets for 30 years for the Pirates. I checked out the Rangers to see if the math was close to, and it was. It was about $57,000 a year for 30 years of Rangers season tickets behind home plate. We've got weird seats behind a home plate, so I did a few different options.
Were you not counting like the tables that are right there immediately behind home plate?
Yeah, where you're underground.
I wish we wouldn't have done that.
Yeah, I don't like that very much.
I see that now, and all I can think of is the opening season in 2020 when they had George Bush and Nolan Ryan behind home plate. That was just like, I was just seeing them all game long. Those cutouts.
Yeah, so ours was, like I said, similar, $1.7 million for 30 years.
I would have thought we'd be cheaper.
Tickets.
That's crazy.
I'm taking, if it's a Rangers card, I'm taking the deal. I don't think I'm sending it to auction.
Like especially if it was like White Langford or something, or Evan Carter.
And I'll tell you why, because I don't think I think $2 million is maybe the top that it's going to sell for. You as the collector who sent it to auction, you're not getting $2 million. You're probably getting one after that.
The fees.
Yeah, half of that is at least getting cut. So you're not going to be able to buy as many season tickets as you want by auctioning this off after all the fees and everything. So I think I'm taking the deal. To put that a little bit into perspective, the 50-50 ball that Ohtani launched and the fan caught, they offered $300,000.
Paltry.
Yeah.
Pathetic.
And it sold for $4.4 million. That's legendary stuff. Do y'all think we'll see someone do 50-50 in our lifetime ever again?
Kind of makes Paul Skenes seem tiny.
Yeah, and I'm not discounting him, but it's not that type of memorabilia for him. It's a regular card. It just happens to be his rookie debut season. It's got the cool patch in it. It's not like his 7th no-hitter, ball or leather from his glove. It's not like that. So that's why I don't think it's going to get that much money for you to be able to buy all those season tickets yourself. Quick note on that ball, it was the record-breaking amount for any type of sports ball previously held by not Mark McLemore's, but Mark McGwire's 70th home run ball in 1999 for $3 million. Would you accept the Rangers equivalent of this? Is there something else you're vying for? You automatically, saying, I want this deal, or are we going to do some negotiating? Let's say it was like Jacob deGrom, of that situation. It's Jacob deGrom's rookie whatever season, and he's going to turn into the guy he's going to turn into, but he's going to do it with the Rangers, obviously.
I'm taking that deal, man. I'm sitting behind home plate. I'm got my summer set for the rest of my mid-adult life here, so.
Hell no.
Yeah, Tony's taking the money.
Hell no.
Tony want the money.
Even whatever fees you were talking about, you still walking away with $1 million. I can sit right behind home plate anytime I want with $1 million.
Yeah, but I'm going to do it for 30 years.
Or you can take those home plate tickets, and whenever you don't want to go to the game, just sell the ticket for a cool $500 whenever you want.
That is part of the negotiations that I would do, is how transferable are these tickets?
Right.
Because I would like to be able to sell them. I would also like to be able to give some of them away. It would be nice. I don't have to make money off of everything. It's not always about the money for me.
Not only am I not confident that there will be a Texas Rangers in 30 years, I'm not confident that there will be an America in 30 years. Give me the money.
Damn it, Tony, you make too many good freaking points over here.
I'm going to take the seats. What? Mortgage, baby. Mortgage.
Mortgage.
Almost. My God, we
man.
might be recording for maybe 7 more minutes, and I dropped the freaking mouse.
Isn't that what you were saying? You do it once an episode.
Every episode I've done it. The last one I brought, which is fun, it's not worth much. I think it's like a $2 to $5 card. This is a Michael Jordan Barons card.
Dude, that's fun.
Yeah, well, he's playing for the Barons. It says 1 of 1 on there, but it's not the numbered card. I think it's some special insert series they were doing called 1 of 1.
Does it have a Bugs Bunny on it?
Impromptu trivia by Tony.
Do you know who the manager of that Barons team was?
Tommy Lasorda.
No, but he was a very famous manager.
Was it Tony La Russa?
No.
Was it
Bobby
Jim
Valentine.
Leland?
No.
Are we in the right age?
Yes.
Johnny Oates? Kevin Kennedy?
More recent.
Buck Showalter.
Holy crap.
More.
Dang.
Well, I guess that's about a contemporary of his.
Davy Collins. Terry Collins, I mean. Davy Johnson. Terry Collins. Jack McKeon.
Did you say Johnny Oates?
Sparky Anderson. Casey Stengel.
The manager of the Birmingham Barons the year that Michael Jordan was there was Tito Francona.
Oh.
Terry Francona?
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
Interesting.
Old chicken and beer himself.
Chicken and beer.
That's gonna, like, he's gonna get in the Hall of Fame, but that's gonna stain his legacy forever. No, yeah, because Chicken and Beer got him fired, and that led to Bobby Valentine, which was equal, if not more, of a dumpster fire, right?
It's like, let's just go the opposite and get someone that no one likes.
Right.
He doesn't even like the disguise that he wore to stay in the dugout after he got thrown out. Have you seen that, Robbie?
No.
Oh man, it's a classic. Just Google like a Bobby Valentine stays in the dugout or something like that.
Oh my gosh, I can't wait for this. All right, there he goes. He's getting thrown out. Yeah, but he's gone. Some mysterious gentleman is just loitering.
Schmobby Schmalentine.
Hey, what's happening over here, guys? What's leaning in and out? Hey, baseball game over here? Don't mind me. I'm just custodial appointment. Left my lemon pledge around.
Watch out for my mustache.
That's hysterical.
I mean, that's some Scooby-Doo bullshit. Right
Yeah,
there.
man. What a goofball. Well, thank you, dear listener, for playing along on another episode of The Ranger Zone. It always means a great deal that you take the time to spend some time with us. The 3 wise men, but we all brought myrrh. As always, you can keep up with us trying to keep up with social media on Instagram, on Twitter, and on YouTube at Ranger Zone Pod. That is at Ranger Zone Pod. We're worth a follow for the nonsense alone. And of course, listen to us just about anywhere you get your podcasts. Thank you again. This has been the Ranger Zone, and I have been Robbie Belusic.
I am Anthony Davis.
I hate Nico Harrison.
And that's the way the baseball go.